Welcome to this episode of Level with Emily Reese, featuring YouTuber, remixer, musician extraordinaire Lacey Johnson. You can find absolutely tons of her remixes on YouTube videos. She makes great videos. They're super fun to watch. She plays about 1 billion instruments, so we talk about all the instruments she plays, how she became a video game music remixer, and what she's up to now. I'm telling you, her output is amazing. She's planned so far ahead. She's got so many remixes ready to go, waiting in the wings, ready to release. So we talk about all that stuff. We also talk about like Final Fantasy. We talk about Persona. She's a huge JRPG person. We talk about Elden Ring, of course, because it's 2022 and everybody talks about Elden Ring in 2022. And we talk about, oh my gosh, just so many things. It was really fun to speak with her and meet her and get to know her, which I did get to meet her in person at VGM Con, which happened here in Minneapolis at the beginning of April. I want you to come to VGM Con next year. It will be a trip to remember. It's a wonderful time. Love VGM Con. Please come visit us here in Minneapolis. Beginning of April, it's a little dicey, but, cross our fingers for some spring-like weather. It can happen. It's happened before. Would love to have you come to VGM Con. In any event, a couple other things I want to tell you about. Lacey is a huge 80s music fan, including the B-52s, so patrons will have access to a private YouTube link, which will have a playlist of some of her favorite B-52s tunes, which is awesome. Check us out on Discord. Sometimes we're on Twitch streaming. I've been streaming some gaming. I also streamed some editing. All kinds of fun things. You can find links in the description below, including how to find us on social media and all of those fun things. While you're looking down there, hit subscribe so you can keep up to date on all of our latest YouTube videos, interviews, and the like. All right, well, I think that's pretty much everything I need to say. We'd love to have you support us. Visit us at patreon.com/level. It's really easy to support us there. Patreon makes it very simple. It's also cheap, and we could use your support. All right, here's Lacey.
Well, howdy, y'all. So my name is Lacey Johnson, and I'm starting this real weird because that's who I am. But I am a video game musician on YouTube, Twitch, pretty much everywhere. Aspiring video game composer, lyricist. Basically, the majority of what I'm doing right now is not quite note for note, but pretty close to note for note arrangements of video game music in my style, which is what I like to call kind of an overproduced pop punk to some degree. But I play every instrument in all the arrangements that you hear. I'm a multi-instrumentalist. And it's really, really fun. And I actually literally 8 minutes ago just released a video, a new video where I wrote original lyrics for a song. So that was very cool. It's my first dipping my toe in. 'Cause I used to write more original music, about 10 years ago. I used to write more, but it just kind of wasn't clicking necessarily for me. I was having trouble finding an audience and having trouble kind of finding the niche and what I wanted to say through my music. And I've always been passionate about video games, but never thought much about, oh, I could do this, or, oh, I could cover the music, or, oh, I could meet other people this way. And then just kind of giving it a try a couple of years ago with recording and keeping myself and my skill kind of at a level I was happy with. I started doing video game arrangements, and then I got introduced to the VGM community and fell in love with the VGM community and the incredible people. And so it's all kind of naturally, organically blossomed from there, because I accept almost as many collaborations as I humanly can keep at one time, and it's allowed me to work with people all over the world, and it's so freaking cool, and it's just inspired me beyond belief. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, the community is pretty great, and I mean, I've loved it for a long, long time. So oh wait, need to silence my devices. That's a good lesson to learn for audio production. We're just going to silence all the things. Yeah, probably won't even cut that out. So
No, good.
Little bonus
Don't.
for you.
Don't. This is advice. This is life advice.
Yeah,
for people.
exactly. Even professionals screw it up. So, so from what I heard you say in there in so many words is that you were making music and recording before you started doing that in the video game music community.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm just so interested in your musical background because, being a multi-instrumentalist is like, where did you start? That's always where what I'm curious about. So let's talk about that.
Sure. Well, I was a classical music kid.
Okay.
I was in very strict classical piano from when I was about like 10 through college. I went to school for music. I got a degree, bachelor's in music business. So I got a full business degree as well as a BA. But since I was in strict classical music, my teachers never let me play anything else. So I was only allowed to play what repertoire they selected. I was, like I said, full-time. So I was doing several classes a week, full-time music theory, everything, the whole smorgasbord of what was available to me. And at the time, honestly, I was just grateful because I begged my parents for lessons. That's what I wanted. So when I kind of got those restrictions placed on me, I naturally wanted to do something for myself just to rebel a little bit. So I taught myself the guitar because I had enough background in music theory and I could figure things out and I knew notes and chords. And that was kind of enough to, okay, well, this finger here and this placement creates this sound and this structure. Wait, I know all of this. Okay. So then it kind of became a lot easier to connect the dots that way. And so I was kind of a pianist and guitarist for a while, and I always sang. That was something I did, but never actually took lessons until I was just getting out of high school. And then in college I had to, which was great. I was so glad that I had teachers just be brutally honest with me and help me make advancements and improvements from there. And it was great. I loved it. And in college I started expanding. I taught myself the banjo, the ukulele. I got experience with an organ, which was really, really fun to learn how to do.
Oh, like
the
a
foot
pipe
pedals.
organ?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The foot pedals still confound me a little bit, but the whole idea behind it was familiar. It was a keys instrument. So I was immediately like, okay, that's cool. I had a roommate who taught me the accordion. That was great. That was a weird time. We would go around the dorm buildings just like serenading people who did not want it, and it was great. I was that kid.
Awesome.
But no, it's great. Like I just have this thirst constantly for learning. I taught, when I was working at a school a few years ago, a colleague of mine exchanged lessons with me, piano lessons for drum lessons, because I was dying to learn drums, drum kit, percussion. So he taught me that. I taught him piano. It was great.
Nice.
I just find these avenues wherever I can to like find a way to learn something new, either monetize it to incentivize myself to do it and practice, which it works. It does. And then recently I've even started teaching a lot of the instruments that are not my primary instrument, which is interesting. Like I had a client the other day ask me what my primary instrument was, and it's piano. I've been their guitar teacher for almost like 2 years now. They've had no idea that I'm a pianist first and foremost. Yeah. But that's the beauty of it too. It makes every single day different. Yeah. And I currently do a lot of session work and a lot of moonlighting. I play with a lot of different groups and people that are not in VGM. And it's fun because even I have an audition as a bass player for a thing coming up soon. I'm doing guitar and keys for an artist. I'm doing keys and vocals for another artist. It's like, it's wonderful because really I can just change a switch in my brain and do whatever is needed and still have a good time doing it. And it's kind of fun. It's like, oh, I can be a bass player. This is fun. This is cool. It's different.
So when did the keytar come in? Because when did you get your very first keytar? I got to know.
Honestly, the keytar is my newest baby, my newest child.
Oh my God. Hold on. Yeah. You got to grab it. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I love it. Yeah.
So I got it when I was in a VGM band a couple of years ago, and they needed a keytar player. And I was like, well, I've always wanted one because I grew up on 80s music and new wave and all this stuff. And I was like, that is cool as hell. I want that. I got made fun of constantly by bands I was in and people just being like, why would you want a keytar? That's so lame. And I was like, no, you don't understand.
They're the best.
It was never lame to me.
Yeah.
So when Roland released this model a couple years ago, I went, I need every single thing about this. I don't even care. I'll figure the money out later. Like, I need to have this. So
yeah.
I did. And I loved it. It did take a little bit of mental gymnastics just to transition from keyboard to a keytar because it is innately pretty different. Just in the physicality of the instrument as well. But then immediately, instead of questioning, I was free. I was able to move. I was able to jump. I was able to do everything I was normally used to being a guitarist, and transition it to an instrument where I literally just, it's the extension of my brain. So it's like, oh my God, this is great. This is so awesome. Like, this is just the combo I've been dreaming of portability and flexibility for me. So it's dope as hell. I want many more. Currently working on pursuing that Roland endorsement. We're getting there.
Nice.
But yeah, I love it so much. It's such a fun instrument. Everyone should play guitars. Don't listen to the haters. They're wrong.
Because, I mean, obviously you can like plug it into pedals and stuff just like a guitar, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can make that thing do whatever you want.
You can go wild. Absolutely wild. And it has the pedal functionality of like a keyboard. So if you plug in a sustain pedal or any other sort of like modulation pedal, you can still control it like a piano. It works exactly the same way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just cool. What would Bach say if he could have like had a guitar or something like that? I don't know.
You know, that's a great question. And I would love to explore that idea, honestly.
Right? I know, yeah. So, oh God, I have so many questions. So let's stay on the guitar and all of that.
Let's go.
So the guitar is newish then, all right.
Yes.
So what kind of music were you writing and performing before you got into VGM?
You know, I was doing a lot of singer-songwriter material. I was working in artist
acoustic
development.
Or
both acoustic and electric. I was working in artist development at a studio around here, kind of helping with studio sessions and doing a lot of ghosting too, for writing sessions and stuff like that. And yeah, it was all original music. And then I got into a couple cover bands just being in the studio scene with people coming by because cover bands make money. And so I was gigging and doing whatever I could to, pay my bills. But yeah, I would say a majority of the things I was doing beforehand were always for other people. Like it was a lot of, original piano work mainly, I would say, or organ parts, honestly, because I worked at I know it's funny to say that, but I worked at a reggae studio. So I did a lot of stuff like that. Chances are if you heard a couple reggae records from like 2012 to 2015, I was on them. Because it just was, we were working at a major studio that did most of like any major record, any major reggae artist. I was on it. So
crazy.
Yeah. It was good. But that's the thing. I'm flexible. I love all kinds of music, and I'm not one of those people that says that and it's like, oh, except no, I will literally listen to anything and play anything. Yeah. It's fun.
I probably won't, but
that's fair. Honestly, too, I also recognize, I tell it to my friends all the time. I'm like, I realize it's not like a healthy thing to do, but I'll listen to the same song 50 times in a row. Like it's just to pick it apart. Yeah. And analyze it and all that.
Yeah. I do. I definitely 100% will do that for sure. Yeah. And then I'll feel guilty about it. I'll be like, I should be listening to something new, but I want to hear this song for the 51st time.
It's like, but it gives me brain tingles. Yes. I want to listen to it again.
Exactly.
I want to feel it again.
So what's the first video game cover you did?
So the first video game cover, I think it was the Overworld from Legend of Zelda, technically. Okay. But it never went anywhere. I just was kind of experimenting, and honestly, my production was not great. We've come a long way. I'm very proud. We, as in me, I have to refer to me. We've come a long way. But the first cover that really took off was I covered Jump Up Superstar from Super Mario Odyssey. And that was a absolute mission because at the time the game was brand new, the song was brand new, there were no lead sheets, nothing, no sheet music, no transcriptions, and so I did it all by ear. And I was one of those, like one of the first to get it out. And it was crazy how much it blew up. I was a very small channel at that time, just kind of covering pop music, doing whatever to, again, keep my skills fresh and use my degree to an extent. And just feel like I was, recording and trying to do something and practice production. And then when that blew up, I went, oh my gosh, I really did not expect this, like, at all. A friend of mine that I went to school with was working for a pretty big content creator at the time. And they wanted me in their video because they loved my cover. And they said, oh my God, if you're available, we'd love you to come to our production studio and like we can do a little music video here at the studio. And so we did. Nice. And that helped put me in front of a lot more people because he had a couple 100,000 subscribers. So nice. It was definitely a substantial audience. And I had a really honest conversation with his manager, the content creator's manager, and he kind of flat out asked me, he said, what do you want to do? And I went, God, that's a great question, But he said, what covers do you want to make? Do you want to keep doing pop music? Do you want to do this video game thing? Because it seems like that's kind of where your passion is. And I went, well, no one's ever asked me that before. I guess I want to do the video game thing. And so that's literally kind of how it started. On that drive home, I was like, I'm gonna do the video game music thing. This is great. Like, this is what makes me happy, and other people like it for whatever reason, so I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna love it, and it's great. So here we are.
So you had mentioned that you are a gamer, so like, yes. What did you grow up playing?
So my favorite franchise of all time is Final Fantasy. I have the Final Fantasy X sigil on my wrist.
Love it.
Because it really like kept me in music lessons too. The Final Fantasy X soundtrack is a very piano based. All of Final Fantasy is very piano based because Uematsu, the composer of a lot of the games that I really enjoy, is a pianist and organist. So it's like so much of it makes sense for me. Just from that perspective. But I love the games, the storytelling. Like, my first loves were unequivocally JRPG protagonists. Like, it's just it was the first time I went, oh, all the boys are so pretty. This is great. And the girls are really cool and smart and strong. Oh, this is it. I found my genre. So I'm a big JRPG fan. Still am. I recently kind of not shifted. I won't say that because I'll drop everything in the world for a new Final Fantasy. But like, I've shifted a little bit of my focus to Persona. The Persona series is absolutely outstanding. And I'm kind of working my way backwards. I started with Persona 5 and absolutely loved it. Played Strikers, played Royal, played, every offshoot of it. I watched the anime. I was like, I'm so invested.
Wow.
And then Persona 4, I absolutely loved. I made an album about Persona 4.
Yep.
And now I'm on 3. I'm working through 3. So I'm really just working backwards, enjoying every step of the way. But yeah, I grew up an N64 kid, and I played all the big N64 titles, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing. I'm going to go that far. But it was really interesting for me to kind of expand from that point and Pokemon and kind of everything that wasn't story driven. And then Final Fantasy X was really the big game for me where I went, oh my God, this is like a movie. Like, these stories break my heart. And I fall in love, genuinely in love with characters. And not gonna lie, my first email was TitusLover1 at Yahoo. I will put myself on blast for that. It's fine. We're being honest here. So it's like, I genuinely, it became my identity. Like, I just loved these games, and I loved how inspired the characters felt, and they were nothing like the media I was consuming here. And it just really became such a big source of so much inspiration. And I even cut my hair to look like Yuna for some time, and just like did everything I could so that way I like really felt connected and felt authentic. And even still, like I said, I'll drop everything in the world for Final Fantasy 16. I hear rumors it's actually going to come out soon. I will drop everything for that. When Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 1 came out, I didn't exist for 10 days because I was just playing that game. And I'm unapologetic. I'm like, I'm sorry. If you need me, I'm not here.
Yeah. This is my life right now. Thank you very much. Yeah.
This is my life. This is my identity. I refuse to comment further. Thank you on that.
All right. So keys, you've got down, obviously, classically trained, which, of course, I'm always self-indulgently asking classically trained musicians questions about, because that's I love classical music. So
excellent. Very good.
Especially piano. And I was such a bad pianist, but I love, keyboard sonatas. I'm particularly a Baroque person, but I also... Huge Beethoven, Beethoven. So I'm just curious what your loves were, or maybe still are, when you were playing. Like, what did you were you like Chopin preludes all day, or what was your deal?
All right, here's the scoop.
Give me the scoop, man.
I don't think this will be surprising even a little bit. I am a romantic pianist. I love Grieg. I'm a big fan of Schumann. A lot of program music, actually, which is interesting. And I know that kind of tapers into contemporary a little bit. But I would play anything and everything I could get my hands on that was very emotive. Claire de Lune was one of my final, I did a full concert for it. But Debussy, obviously, is one of my big choices. But it's like, it was an avenue. I enjoy it. Beethoven's one of my favorite composers. But I always felt whenever I'd play Beethoven, because I played Moonlight Sonata, I was playing it like a romantic pianist. And I had my teacher tell me that. She went, I appreciate what you're doing because it's artistry, but like we need to be a little more particular to the genre. And I went, okay, what's a genre that would let me not do that? Romantic? Guess that's for me. All right, let's go. So I was committed to being the romantic pianist that broke all of the rules. I wrote endings. There was a piece I played, and I'm so glad I can't remember it now because I would embarrass myself. But there was like a 10-page, I think it was a sonata that I played, and I forgot the last movement. I completely, when I was performing it, forgot. So I wrote the last movement at a concert, and I see my teacher in the back of the room just going like, just totally face palming and being like, oh God. But I remembered the last like 10 measures, and so brought it back together. It's fine.
Amazing.
But it's funny though now, like as I have some classical piano students, it's interesting approaching it kind of from the other side, right? Because every person does have the genre they lean to, the period that they lean to. I have a student who is so mathematical, he's going into as like a double major in bio and calculus.
Wow.
He loves Baroque music. He's so good at it. And it just like, I always had teachers tell me that because I was never a math person. So I'm like, okay, well, it makes sense that it's never made sense for me, I guess. But it comes so naturally to him. And so I push him with a lot of different kinds of music for that reason as well, just to be like, look, I know this is easy for you, but you can't approach everything in this manner because you should think more about not what's easy, but what is, needed, or what's the art behind it. What's the intent, the purpose? That's what I always say. But it's nice to approach classical music from the other side in a non-toxic and non-conforming way too, because there's ways to teach it and not be limiting, to learn the rules, not for the sake of necessarily following them, but respecting what they did for the genre, what they contribute to the piece, the composition itself, because there's a lot to be learned from that. And I wish my teachers taught me that a lot earlier, because I learned things for the sake of, you have to learn this. This is your homework, do this. And that made no connection with me, whatever. It was when I was in college pursuing my degree, having to do counterpoint and form an analysis for hours a day. And I went, oh my God, this is genius. You see the art behind it and the creation of it and how things evolve throughout time and how some melodic ideas were used to insult other composers because it was a trivial idea, and then this composer turned it on its head and that was meant to be an insult. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much drama. This is great. Like, wow. Anyway, I TLDR, I am a romantic pianist with an emphasis in breaking the rules. So that is definitely where my skill set and my interest lies.
Well, that works out very well for the Romantic era. I think that was the name of the game in the Romantic era, really. Was
Absolutely.
Breaking, pushing the boundaries. But
yeah,
that's really, when you think about, thinking about like your teacher saying this is Beethoven is supposed to be kind of this way.
Right.
That can be a damaging thing. But I mean, but also you want people to make music out of it and make it their own. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of setting those rules and or structure of something to see someone's artistic view, because you really can see what they bring to the table if they approach it from a very neutral, like, okay, well, these are the things you must do. The rest is up to you. Then that's kind of what's exciting, I think, because I've definitely heard performances from a couple of my students that has made me cry because it shows their art in it. And that's so beautiful. And I just wish I'd had that idea earlier in my career than later in my 20s, because I was like, oh, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. I did not appreciate this at age 15.
Right. Yeah. So you had said earlier too that you kind of grew up on like 80s music. So how did that happen? Because I don't think that you're my age. So
no.
Yeah.
My parents are big fans of new wave music. My favorite live band to see is still the B-52s. I have seen them 7 times. I'm seeing them on their farewell tour. I just got tickets.
Okay, nice.
I love them. I absolutely love it. And what I love about new wave music was how absolutely off the wall it could be. You could go from anywhere where something would sound like some sort of goth rock, straight out of The Cure, like this is dope. And then there's a synth breakdown for no reason. And it's just like, this is absolutely insane. I love it. I can't get enough of it. So yeah, we listen to a lot of new wave in my house. My dad is a big psychedelic rock fan. He's a Deadhead. Like, we had nothing but fascinating music choices, I would say. And then I had this affinity to bubblegum pop. So I was listening to all of that on my little Walkman. Yeah. And then every time I'd come out, there would be a Dead live at Winterland playing somewhere. And then I'd get in my mom's car and we'd be listening to Pat Benatar. And, it's just like literally everything from the 80s was my foundation, which is so I didn't even realize it until I started making music. And I went, what do you mean you wouldn't go straight for the synthesizer? What's wrong with you? What are you talking about? What do you mean you wouldn't just like get a flanger and make these guitar lines that sound like the Smiths? Like, why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, it's fascinating. It made quite the impression for me.
Yeah. Well, and just speaking of flangers,
sure.
How did
Absolutely.
Like, who taught you music production? Was that self-taught? You just learned grinding on how to mix and all that stuff? Because when we did the panel together, I just the panel that we did together was we're listening to composers who are submitting music for this clip of video game business.
Yes.
And me, I have like very little production in like knowledge.
Sure.
It's the word I'm looking for.
The know-how.
And so,
knowledge.
it's easy. It's very easy for me to talk about something musically speaking, right?
Sure.
But everybody else on the panel was doing what you were doing, which is commenting on the music and the production. And I'm just like, well, I can't do that. So I'm, just where did you, where did that come into your life?
So this is a very interesting answer, and this is kind of tying into how music really got started for me. I have always had the skill, ever since I was a young kid, to pick apart music parts, instruments, things on their own just with my ears.
Yeah.
And that was how I started doing piano. I was at my friend's house and learned a whole song just by hearing it once. Yeah. And so I've always kind of had this gift to be able to pick apart, like, I could hear this one part on the far left side and, isolate it just by listening to it and figure it out. And so realizing now that's not normal. That's not a thing that's fine. When I went to school and we started doing music production my very first year, we did film and music, which was absolutely something I was obsessed with. I had never touched a MIDI keyboard in my life. I had no idea you could use MIDI instruments to make orchestral sounds, and we made mock-ups for TV show pilots and stuff like that. It was cool. I had a professor pull me aside and be like, have you done this before? Is this new to you? What's the deal? I went, no, I don't know. I just was doing it like I heard it in my head. And he went, oh God, okay, well, I think you get it. And I think we should probably put you in some other classes because this is definitely a skill you have. And I went, okay. So, literally, I just did whatever professors were like, yeah, you should do this. I went, sure. Taking like 25 units a quarter, just like messing my life up because I loved it. I like could not get enough. And I went to school for it. I was like, oh my God, I get graded on this. This is awesome. Yes, I'll learn how to write for strings. Yes, I'll learn how to, whatever you need. Like, I got it. So, I was very fortunate that the university I chose was so just completely curated for someone like me because there were no requisites, you know, and if there were, teachers would be like, no, you're fine. We'll just make sure you can take this, whatever you need. Yeah. I was so fortunate to find a program where all the professors were so helpful and so understanding of someone like me who was just doing too much all the time. And it was really great. I had a professor, his name's Arthur Weiner. I love this man with all of my heart. He's still there. He was a Sony engineer for years, and he teaches music production and mastering at Cal Poly Pomona, which is where I went. And he gave me some of the best feedback on all of my projects. He always picked everything apart, made me solo all my tracks and tell me exactly what he liked or didn't and how to improve it. He never was gatekeeping. He always saw that I wanted to do this and I was not going to get a degree and maybe do something else and sometimes do music. He went, no, I can see you're someone who really wants this. So let's work on this together. So his patience and his knowledge and everything that he gave to me is so valuable. I still attribute so much to my production to his ears today.
Wow.
And of course, you know, it's evolved and I take whatever music I can find and be like, oh, I like this. Let me try and find this sound in my little library and incorporate it into a project I'm doing. I still do that all the time. It's why not? You know, it's like, well, clearly I like this, so someone else might like this too. Let me see if I could incorporate this in my way, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of experimentation. I think just a lot of exploration within all my instruments too. Spending the time and trying to understand what I like or don't like about something and why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of all those instruments, like what's on your list to learn? I mean, are there any wind instruments in your future?
You know, God, I wish. I tried when I was a kid. I tried to do clarinet. I tried to do trumpet. I tried to do violin. I'd still love to, but I recognize I have friends who are far more talented now. So I'm like, it's okay. I'll hire them if I need a quartet. That's okay. What I really want to do next is a little bit more percussion. I want to, of course, I don't have the space just looking at my space right now, but I would love to expand my percussion capabilities. I would love to have more acoustic percussion instruments. I have my drums over here, but I definitely like they're electronic drums, so I'm a little limited just in the timbres that I can really get, but I would love to expand more percussion wise. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
But other than that, thankfully, there's not more on the docket for me because I just physically don't have the room for more instruments. This is not all of my guitars, by the way. So the other half are over there. And then I've got a piano here and Moog up here. My other piano is over here. So it's kind of like they're all in a space. I just accumulate them like this.
Well, and how about I just banged the mic.
That's okay.
How about composition then? You said, you know, you really do want to get into more composition for games especially. So, you know, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, okay. So lately I have been experimenting in my covers with writing new sections of music within them. It's a very new and very uncertain thought for me because I frankly never thought I was good at it. I never had anyone say to me once in my career at university and everything, just I never had someone say, wow, this sounds great. You know, like what you wrote is so great. I love whatever. I never had that. And I was fine with that because frankly, I love just playing other people's music. You know, I mean, I was getting paid to play someone's piano line or like getting paid to do bass or guitar or whatever for someone else. And I was fine with that. I wasn't really looking for anything beyond that. I played with a lot of great musicians and I've, you know, heard them talk about writing solos or sections, and I never related to that much because I just went, well, that's cool. I mean, you tell me the progression, I'll learn it in 5 seconds and we'll play it. You know, like that was kind of just the exchange I had. I had so many lead players in my life. I never really thought anything more of it than that. And it wasn't really until I'd say when the collabs started. So right about at the height of 2020 for me, where I had collaborators want keyboard solos from me, and I went, oh God, no. Like I don't know how to say this, but this is not my skill, you know. But I was like, you tell me what you want and I'll play it. I could literally play you any classic rock solo you want on a keyboard. I could do that. But I instead said, okay, I'll get that to you next week. And I started making myself write, even though I was so insecure about it. I literally took it down to a form structure and just made it simple for myself in a way that's classical that I could kind of expand and be like, okay, well, what are other things that have happened? Let me try and reference those and etc. So my process has thankfully evolved a little beyond that, which is nice because as I said, I have started adding full sections into my work now, which is so exciting. And I'm like, I'm so proud of my little self because I know how anxious it makes me to add anything original into cover work. And one of the examples that I can think of immediately where I did this and it was very successful was I covered Kraid from Metroid, Kraid's Lair from Metroid 1. And I added an entire prog breakdown into the cover. And I was so insecure, but I was like, I hope it hits because it makes me feel real, you know, like whoo every time I hear it. So I was inspired by a lot of my friends like Ropan Oganti and Richard E. Flat and like a lot of the guys in my life that are such incredible guitar players that just do this all the time and they just crank out like 16 bar sections that make you go, oh my God, but that section though, you know, like, so I was trying to channel them and their creative genius a little bit and take it kind of into like, okay, what would I do if I was writing this, and I was writing this, but I was still trying to just be like, okay, whatever mental approach I have to do to actually put this together. And I couldn't believe the response. People went, oh my God, I had no idea you could do this. And I went, me neither, but I'm so glad you liked it. So it's kind of evolved a lot. And that was pretty recent. That was just at the end of last year that I did that. So it's evolving all the time. And I have something coming out at the end of this month that I am officially announcing next week, but
sweet.
But that work itself has so much originality in it. It's work that I couldn't believe I made, and it came to me. It was not something I was trying to do. It was a cover I was working through, and I just couldn't help but feel like so much of it was repetitive. And what if I wish there was something else in there that sounded like, and that's literally what inspired almost a 2-minute complete departure from the piece itself. And I went, it's almost like I want to be writing original music, you know, like, what an idea. And it's always been an aspiration of mine to do scoring to some degree. And so, I mean, this channel has been such an amazing experiment for me in the sense of, okay, you could do this. This is definitely an instrumentation style that you identify with, just kind of the production I've been making lately, which is hard rock synth, whatever you want to call it. And that's on my, business card, hard rock synth, whatever. But it's I don't know. It's very exciting to me to think of writing original game music because it's the thing that makes me feel alive and made me make a connection to this instrument I was playing when the repertoire really wasn't doing it for me. And just to make someone feel that way by listening, even if that person is myself, That's just, to me, just like the highest enlightening part of playing an instrument, writing the music. Because really, I mean, that's what music is. It's a language that you don't necessarily need to speak to appreciate. And it's something I would love to do, to just show my point of view if anyone cares. It's like, and again, the fact that like anyone cares about what I have to say is fascinating to me all the time. But no, it's something I would just love to do and to share with people. And I'm finding that I'm enjoying it so much more lately than I ever did. The art of it's so cool.
So you just released a Kirby medley a couple of weeks ago or so, which is awesome because Kirby, who doesn't love Kirby?
I am obsessed.
Oh God, so
he
good. He
is so precious and so chaotic, an agent of chaos.
Agent of chaos, agent of precious chaos.
Precious
call him that. Yeah,
love that.
And so that was really fun. And you said you're going to announce something next week. This is going to publish a couple weeks from now. I'll tell you more about that when we start recording. But so it might line up really well for that.
It would actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good news. But what else are you working on right now that you can talk about? You said Persona 3.
So I'm also working on something with Persona 3. I can say that for sure. It's I immediately, within like the first 7 hours of playing this game, I went, oh God, I'm planning another record. I just feel it. I'm so upset. I was genuinely so mad because I went, let's do this again, I guess. Like, great. So I've already got like a few tracks in the works for that. I did a collaboration with my friend Ferd K, who's from Argentina. We released Burn My Dread, which I actually performed. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I performed that live at VGM Con too. That was like the debut of it, which was pretty cool to do. And I was just so upset that it sounded so good because I love Persona and I love the music and I love covering it. And it literally is one of the easiest games I've ever had a connection to so quickly. Like the Persona 4 record was put together in less than 6 months. The whole thing was recorded start to finish in less than 6 months.
That's amazing.
And like, it just was because I could not stop. And unfortunately, I'm feeling similarly with the Persona 3 one. And I'm like, no, you are just finishing other project. And this is not the time to start this now, please.
Maybe it's the perfect time, Lacey.
Unfortunately, Emily, I believe it would be. So we'll see. There might be a few things to look forward to in that regard from me this year.
Good. Nothing else you can mention, I suppose.
It's fine. No. I'm very excited to be working with so many friends and new friends in the VGM scene as well. Yeah. Because we're definitely pushing the envelope, myself and them included, for what kind of genres we can create together. Mm-hmm. So I'm really, really excited for basically the next 3 months of uploads from me, because I unbiased will say it's some of my best work personally. So
now, how far ahead are you? I mean, that's amazing. I didn't mean to step on that.
That's all good.
How far ahead are you working? Like, I mean, you say you've got several months of uploads planned. Yeah. I mean, how many of those things are finished, or are you kind of like we have? I have several months planned too, but like none of the interviews are done. You know what I mean? So
yeah, of course. The way that I work, I definitely record audio as I do it, just whatever comes to me. And usually the reason I can have, like, I have about 30 covers done right now.
Wow. That are out, or that are not out?
That are not out right now.
Damn, I want some of that mojo.
I work very fast. But I do videos one at a time. Except for collabs, those kind of operate on their own schedule just as it is with another person in the mix. But like, I'm a little bit of a production machine. And a lot of the time, if I start something, I'm usually working on 2 other things at that same time. And they all, just to take a break from one, I'll move to the next one. And that kind of creates this, oh, wow, I have like my whole month planned out now. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, it definitely varies though. There's some things where if I hear it, like with Elden Ring, because I always have to bring it up into our conversations. When we got Elden Ring the day it came out, I heard the title screen, never hearing it before. And in that, I literally almost ran to my computer because I have to cover this. The next day I covered it in 3 hours and released it that following Friday because I was just like, I'm a woman possessed. I can't not do this. I'm going to spend my entire day figuring out every piece of it, what I want to add to it, what I don't want to change about it. And then it will be done and released. And it's still one of my favorite covers I've done because I did it the old school way. I used to do that with YouTube all the time instead of actually planning. But it's like that kind of passion and that excitement just makes me so much more excited to do the work and to film a video for it and do effects and or planning and whatever, it's like, I care so much. It's so exciting.
So did you play? Are you playing it? Did you play it?
I am playing Elden Ring. Are you playing Elden Ring?
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, that was the funny thing when we were at VGM Con together. Just for context, for you listening, that had like just. I mean, it hadn't just come out.
No,
it had been out for like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah,
a month maybe.
Yeah, about a month.
But everybody, it's like all anybody was talking about. And I was like, can we shut the fuck up about Elden Ring for half a minute? No. But then I met Mark Schimmelbusch.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I had listened to his Bloodborne concept album before VGM Con and was really taken by it, and so like that kind of got me back into the Souls. God. And so then it was. I don't remember how long after VGM Con I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy it. Then I bought it and I played it on PS4, which, I mean, then I got my PS5. So it's just, I mean, it's yes, I'm playing it.
Good.
So we were just joking about like, God, can people just not talk about? So anyway,
and then it became my mission to bring it up in every single conversation point that I would make. And poor Emily was a real good sport because I could tell she wanted to cuss me out about it.
It's fucking Elden Ring. Come on. But yeah, what's funny is I started as a bandit, and that just I wasn't able to make that happen. Now that I know more, I'd like to go back and probably start another bandit. But when I started over, I was like, okay, let's just. I can't. It's not paladin. It's a vagabond or something. Yeah, like whatever the soldier is. I'm like, let's just. Yeah, do this,
we did vagabond the first time because now this is my first Souls game. And so I'm surprised I like it because I get very frustrated so easily, and so I'm surprised. Yeah. But I mainly just run in cowardice from everything. I wish I were a badass with it, but I'm not quite there yet. We'll get there. But we started Vagabond, and I know that I'm pretty close in the story to where I can do stat rerolls. Yeah. And I think I will, because as I'm seeing, unfortunately, intelligence and a couple other stats are kind of more important right now for me where I'm at. So I'm like, oh boy. Well,
there's still so many things I really don't quite understand about the game. And I feel like I've read and watched so many how-tos that I'm like, okay, I can't watch a how-to on this other thing. Like, so there are vast properties of the game that I am not even doing, like spell casting. Like,
no, me neither.
So it's like I'm just like I'll learn that on my next playthrough, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you just gotta conquer it one class at a time, I guess. Exactly. That's what the true Souls players would say. So it's okay. We're just getting through it. It's okay.
What else are you playing? Or is that enough? For
my God,
right now?
I'm playing so many games, which is so unlike me because life has never let me play these many games at one time.
Well, yeah. So, what do you got?
All right, let's strap in. Here we go. So I'm playing Elden Ring. I'm playing Kirby right now. Yeah. I just started it, and I cried the first night that I played it because this game makes me feel genuine joy, and I love it so much. Like, it's just great. It's everything I've wanted. We've been calling it Elden Ring when I'm playing it because it's basically just Kirby in a desolate land fighting things that want to kill him. And I'm like, Elden Ring? So anyway, I'm playing that. We're playing through Persona 3. Yeah. I'm playing, what's the other one? Tales of Arise, which I'm really liking so far. And then I've been wanting to replay Life is Strange as well, which is one of my favorite games. So
nice.
I'm actually playing video games. I am what you would call, one might call a gamer at this time, which is really exciting. Like I said, I've never have had time to do this. I've never found, like, since I was in college, I think, time to make for myself to play video games right now. And I'm realizing the busier things are, the more I am at this beautiful but one workspace all day. I need time away.
Yes.
So I'm actually delighted to find it in video games again, because
Awesome.
I feel it's definitely a much better mental place for me to create things and to think about things. Yesterday I listened to the Kirby house theme, which is Green Greens, but in the jazziest arrangement humanly possible.
Awesome.
I listened to it for 17 and a half minutes straight yesterday because that's just what my brain needed.
Yeah.
And I went, oh boy, kid, you're going through something, aren't you? You need some Kirby.
That's awesome. I love Kirby, though. Kirby's great.
Oh
One of the few Game Boy games that I had.
Oh, nice.
That was like the only thing my mother allowed me to have when I was a
that's
kid.
cool.
So yeah.
I mean, that's a good choice. Again,
Yeah.
the agent of chaos. It just makes sense.
An evil fucking cloud. Yeah. So, I mean, now that I know you've got like 30 covers in the can, which is still, I'm trying to understand that kind of productivity. But is there anything, I mean, this question seems ridiculous because it would seem like, well, there must not be. You'd be doing it already. Is there anything you strive to do? Like, oh my God, my dream is to do, Final Fantasy X, or I don't know, what's your dream game that you haven't touched yet that you want to touch?
Touch grass. Sorry, touch grace.
Touch your grace.
That's what we call it every time, is touching grass.
Elden Ring, everyone, just in case you're not
Elden Ring.
Yeah.
But also touch grass. It's good for you.
Yes.
God, what haven't I covered yet? I have a couple things. I keep like a memo at all times in my phone of things to cover. That's what it's called.
Sure.
And it's been kind of evolving and growing. Boy, I would love to cover more Final Fantasy X. It's my favorite game, and I've only done a couple songs from it, which is, I think, more a sign of I don't feel like I'd have anything new to say with some of the pieces, and so I haven't touched it for that reason.
Yeah.
Usually that's kind of the way things go. Even with the Persona 4 track, Your Affection, I tried to start that song 4 times. I've scrapped that production 4 times. Because it just wasn't right, and I wasn't feeling like what I added was anything new or anything important, basically. And the one time that it was the last track I finished too, and I was kind of like, oh, I gotta do something with this. Like, I can't not have Your Affection. It's one of the biggest songs in Persona 4. And it was another Elden Ring situation where I had an idea. I was inspired by Fly Like an Eagle by Steve Miller, straight up. And I was like, because the intro to that song is so trippy, kind of like Fly Like an Eagle, how it has that like moment where everything's just kind of ascending constantly. And I went, that's it. That's how I'm going to do it. So that's how I started, and I finished the song in 48 hours. So it was just kind of one of those moments for me. So sometimes what really inspires me is very spur of the moment, and I literally become possessed, and I can't do anything else or talk about anything else until I finish it, because it's just, I'm assuming that's what a lot of songwriters feel like most of the time too, because you have to get the idea out, whatever it is. It's like it needs to go somewhere so I can move on with my life and have like a neurotypical way of thinking. But for me, it's more like I'll hear something and be like, oh my God, I must make that sound. How do I make that sound? And I find out how to do it. So like, I don't know. I'd love to do more Final Fantasy X. I would love to do more Kingdom Hearts, honestly. That would be kind of fun to do. And then there's like a lot of people I really want to work with that I don't think I'm not in a place to ask them for their musicality, but I think definitely like having a song come to mind or a piece come to mind that went, oh my God, I need them for this. Like, that's kind of the way I like to approach collaborations too. So
sure,
I need some divine inspiration from the games.
Yeah.
They just need to come to me more. Yeah.
I mean, you've done such amazing work. It's really fun to watch videos. Talk to me a little bit about your Twitch stream. What goes on that?
Sure. Well, it's pure chaos.
Just like Kirby.
It's basically Kirby, but in a Twitch stream. No, you know what? Honestly, I'm trying to get back into it. I love streaming on Twitch. I love it so much. And I previously had struggled because I had the hardest time figuring out how to easily stream. Right? Because for me, if it's a lot of work, it's like a video. I don't want to commit any hour of the day to doing it unless I just do it and it's done. So I've had to this has been tricky. I've had to make streaming fun for myself, to set up, to do. Really, I know it seems interesting, but just the way my brain is I have so many things happening at any given time that if there's one more thing of work, I won't do it. I'm just like, nope, this is too much of an ask for me for today. I'm not going to do it. So I spent so much time creating the easiest way to do music streams, which is one thing I do. I figured out an easy way to do gaming streams just from this little setup. So I'll stream like Animal Crossing, or I'm a big fan of shovelware. So any like shitty game that came out for the Wii or the PlayStation, like I own them. And I actually have a shovelware stream planned this next week, which I'm very excited about, which I can say here because it'll already have happened. So it's Garfield Kart Racers. And I cannot wait to stream it. My friend Laura and I, we thrive on going to GameStop and finding the worst games we possibly can and playing them live because she's a hairdresser. So we found a game called Busy Scissors, which is for the Wii. Deep cut, I know, but like, so Busy Scissors, it was this awful motion control of trying to do hairstylist things. And so I would have her play it and try and analyze on stream what is working and what is not. So it was great. I love doing that kind of stuff, but really for me, like, since I've monetized so many other things in my life, Twitch has very much become a fun thing for me to do. It's become a great way to do live music, to connect with people who might enjoy my music, who never even had heard of me before. And really, that's kind of how I'm treating it. I want to become more regular with my streams. I say it all the time, but I still want to. And I'm working on that because I think it really is a great way to keep myself playing too. I've kind of made it my rehearsal a little bit for some of these tracks that I do. But just talking with people and connecting and making actual friendships is really amazing thing that Twitch can do.
Yeah.
It's cool. The live stream thing is very cool.
Yeah.
It's really coming up.
It's on its way.
It'll be huge one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I could talk to you all day. What else do you want to mention though that I haven't brought up about, the work you do or what you want people to know about you? I found it very hard to learn about you, actually. Even though you're everywhere, you're kind of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like, in that,
it's working.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're publicly there, but there's no bio. Like that stuff, I kind of had to piece together, which is interesting. Sure. So
good. My Enigma status is really working for me.
So what else do you want people to know?
So one thing that I really want people to know is I really want to work with composers and make music in games. I really want to do this. I think even as a player, a session player, a vocalist, whatever, I'm really wanting to dip my toes and expand further. As I've said, I love to learn and push myself past where I'm comfortable. I really want to start that part of my musical journey because I feel I've learned so much about composers and a lot of melodic ideas from composers to the point where I would be a very valuable asset to add to a music team or a soundtrack team of any kind like that. So that's kind of where I really want the next phase of my music journey to go. And I know a lot of VGM people, that's kind of the natural progression of things. So I'm just putting it out into the world. Like, I'm going to make it happen. I really want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm working on my website, so soon my Enigma status will go much lower.
There you go.
I'm just trying to be hard, dodging the law. It's fine. Just trying to stay a little bit underground. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I guess I'll say this here, especially if it's coming out in a few weeks. I am releasing a new record, a Metroid album that is coming out this month.
Yes.
This month.
Maybe my personal favorite old school 8-bit.
Excellent.
Personal favorite, the original Metroid. Yeah.
I think you will be very pleased, Emily, because I have chosen music from the entire franchise. The only game, ironically, which is one of my favorites, that didn't make it on was Fusion. Okay. But I had enough kind of rounding out the melodic ideas. So there's 11 tracks on this record. Okay. Very, very excited. It's called Next Mission. And it will, everything going right, will be dropping at the end of May. So that's very exciting.
And you're because we're recording right now. This is May 6th. Mm-hmm. You are announcing it on what date?
Next week.
Okay, next week. Yeah, because we'll be publishing after that. So
perfect, great,
cool.
So yes,
that's
look
great.
Forward
so
to my Metroid
record. Your Metroid, your Lacey Johnson
Yes.
Metroid, which is bound to be awesome.
It will be very good. It's a very powerful record, and I feel very strongly about the path of it, the emotion behind it, because my titling for Next Mission is kind of a little bit of a conflicted emotion, right? Because Samus is constantly finding new things about who she is, what her mission is on this world, wherever the setting is, that there's a little more to it than what is initially. It's always kind of like, there's a twist, but sometimes it's about Samus, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's about everything. So the creative thought behind the record itself is Samus going through all of these journeys, these twists and turns, these bosses, these moments of calm, and then eventually reaching this plateau where she's victorious, but you can always tell there's a little bit of an undercurrent of darkness and uncertainty beneath it. So it kind of, my goal was to create the feeling of what Metroid gives to me and the questions that I always have at the end of a Metroid game. So that was kind of my idea, going through Prime, going through Metroid 1 and 2, a little bit of everything, really. There's some arrangements from Return of Samus on there. Like there's a lot of homages to a lot of melodic ideas that I wanted to incorporate.
Awesome.
But yeah, I feel very happy with the concept because I think it's a little deep. A little deep. Makes you think.
A little deep. Love it.
So well, calling it Next Mission.
I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to hear it.
Heck yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That'll be really, really good.
Sweet.
Very excited about that.
What else do you want to say, Lacey, before we go our separate ways?
Oh, well, let's see. I guess I'll promote myself. So I make YouTube covers, and I stream on Twitch. You can find me just about on every single social media platform. I'm on it if you're on it, usually, at Lacey Johnson Music. And hire me for your game soundtracks. Check out my upcoming Metroid record. And subscribe to Emily on all of her platforms and fun things that she does.
Lacey. Yeah.
Well, and Lacey too, I guess. That's fine. But yeah. And be good to each other because, damn it, this world is testing me lately. So I really want everyone to treat each other with kindness because we all deserve it.
We need kindness. You can be angry at Elden Ring, not each other. Angry at Elden Ring.
That's the name of this episode. We found the title. There it is.
Amazing. Well, Lacey, please, I'd love to stay in touch with you. And
absolutely.
As you got new stuff coming out, and we'll have you back on the show, and maybe we could stream something together sometime. Stream some Elden Ring. Or
Oh my God, Emily. I would love that.
Did you kill what's her name at Rhea Lucaria? Did you kill her yet?
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Mm-hmm, I just kicked her ass last night, and I kicked her ass. I couldn't believe it.
I'm so jealous because she kicked my ass very badly.
No, you know what the hardest part of Rhea was for me was the wolf.
Oh, really?
That fucking wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. And that's probably why I kicked her ass, is because I was so OP.
You were so angry. Yeah.
Well, and I was so OP. And also the guide that I read, because like I said, I guide for everything. So the guide was like, be aggressive with her. And I was like, look out, I'm two-handing my sword, bitch. You better duck.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Tilted at Elden Ring, the podcast.
Yeah, that's our next collab, Lacey.
That's
you
it.
and me,
Oh my
we're gonna
God.
do some Elden Ring together.
I will train so that I'm like actually fun to watch. Well, I'm sure I would be fun to watch because I would just explode every time that I die.
Well,
so
yeah.
it'd be great.
If you run away every time, that's kind of fun to watch.
It's
too,
there you go. Yeah. So you're giving me hope now. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for
good.
restoring my faith in my Elden Ring ability.
Oh, you got this. If you're at the academy, you beat Godric.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to beat Godric to get to the academy, but
did.
okay. So
his music also was like some of my favorite that I've heard so far.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
So good.
Blew my mind.
So good. Oh my God. All right, girl. Well, you have a wonderful day and weekend, and I'm so grateful to have gotten to know you. I just know that we're going to talk many more times and do fun things together. So thanks, Lacey.
Likewise, Emily. Likewise.
All right. You be well.
All right. You too.